Wait a minute. One goddamn minute. Start shit till I finish. Wait a minute. All right. We back one more again. You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph, here with another episode. Hope everybody's doing good out there in TV land. And before we get started, you know what we got to do. Got to send a shout out to them sponsors, man. If you want to do a podcast like what you're watching, music video, photo shoot, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. And if you're looking for a clean, no crash, jitterless energy drink, get on your handhelds, your phones, your iPads, computers, all that, W.com. D-U-B-B-Y, W.com. Use promo code JUKE. We gonna get you right. And please like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Subscribe on YouTube. I'm on Juke Network. Follow the same name on Facebook. Juke Network, J-U-K Network. Once we get to 100 followers on Facebook, I'll be able to go live straight from there. We'll no longer need the He Say, She Say channel page. So that page will be deactivated soon. You can also follow us on Instagram, Juke Sports Show, J-U-K Sports Show, and anywhere that you listen to your audio podcast. And so it's tournament time, y'all. So we got to go over the tournament. Going straight into it at the number one spot. I think the number one overall, I think it was Florida. Yeah, I believe it was Florida on the men's side. Or Houston. I don't remember. But I know Houston gets a number one seed. Florida gets a number one seed. Auburn gets a number one seed, as well as, who am I missing? Auburn, Florida, Duke. And so just to go straight through it, I'm going to go through the South. I'm going to give matchups that I'm looking forward to. And then at the end, I'm going to go straight through who I think is going to win the first two rounds before I go to the fast break. So in the South, honestly, I really don't think there's too many things that's going to be on here that's as far as like what to look out for. I got a cup of all of the brackets. I think this is the most intriguing one to me just because it could go so many different ways. But Louisville is playing Creighton, which I feel like it's a little unfair, especially for given the fact that Auburn is in the same bracket and they're the number one seed. Like, how you put them in a bracket where one of the teams is playing at home. So Louisville's playing in the state of Kentucky, 70 miles from their home stadium or home campus, and they're going up against Creighton. So in the end, man, I think that Louisville is coming in hot, winning 21 of the last 23 games, playing at the house. And then these 8-9 matches really could go either way. That's why, like, based off of ranking and the way that the history of the game, like, there's been some 9s that won, there's been some 8s that won. So I do think Louisville getting the advantage of playing at home, I do think that's going to be a big factor for them. And then Iowa State and Lipscomb is one of those. It may not look like, because of like the randomness of the school, and I know that they're the 14th seed in their bracket. So I'm like, but Iowa is losing a key player that just was announced that they are no longer participating in the whole tournament, no matter how far they go. But Keyshawn Gilbert will not be playing, which to me is one of their better players, best player. And so I think that pretty much closes the gap to where Lipscomb can be able to get the upset. In the end, I do still think that Iowa's going to win, but I do think that this is a perfect opportunity for Lipscomb to be able to get that upset. So, upset alert. And then I got Yale and Texas A&M. This is just one of them you always go through the tournament and you get those teams that just find a way to get the dub. And we had Purdue losing as a number 1 seed to a 16th seed a couple years ago. Um, Kentucky did it as well. Like there's certain times and teams where you get those 13-4, those 12-5 matchups, and I feel like Texas A&M is going to win, and I do think I have Texas A&M on the bracket when I finally ended up. Yeah, I had them playing, getting to the round of 32, and so, but there's some part of me that feels like Yale is probably going to win. Sometimes I do a pretty good job of predicting the upsets, but sometimes, especially over the last 2-3 years, but sometimes it don't work out in my favor. But there's this gut feeling about this one. And so going down to the West, got another 8-9 matchup that I think is going to be interesting. UConn versus Oklahoma. UConn is not the team that they've been in the past, but when you have a good coach, like I think they do, it's one of those things where you kind of go with the coaching. There's an upset I got that's in the same bracket, and I got them winning just specifically for you have the better coach. Now I know players play, coaches coach, but I do think you can never underestimate the heart of a champion. And so I do think UConn is going to get to the next round, but I do have them losing a little further down the road here, which to many people I don't feel like should be a surprise. And so we got Memphis and number 5 Memphis versus number 12 Colorado State. And this is crazy, but I brought up the 12-5 thing earlier. Colorado, as the 12 seed, is favored by 2.5 points. That's crazy, right? Like Memphis is as a 5 seed versus 12 is getting 2.5. And so is it really an upset if 12-5 wins? I think this might be the first time where the higher seeded team, like, it's an upset if they win. But I got the upset technically. I got Memphis. I think Memphis has the better player, the better singular player. The best player on the court is going to play for Memphis. So I feel like in the end, Memphis will be able to get that. I think I'm gonna end up taking Memphis money line as long as my check hit before the tournament starts. But I only got them going to the next round. I think eventually I do have them. Actually, I do think I have them going far, but I just don't. Spoiler alert, I got 3 number 1s going to my Final Four. Just not know that typically doesn't happen, but we'll see. I don't know. Just going through the teams and how I was feeling about everything based off of the knowledge I have and my gut feeling, I went with 3 number 1s. So we'll see. And then last up, we got Drake and Missouri. Drake has the University of Drake. I like the Drake. I feel like their coach, I forget his name, but he was a D2 player, coach, and got the opportunity with Drake, brought a few of his players with him. He has like a 6'5" guard over there, and Buddy can hoop. And so in these tournaments, I always tend to go with like the better guard play. And I think that when you have someone of that size being able, as a ball handler, being able to create for themselves and others, I do feel like Drake will be able to get this victory. And so going down to the east side. All right. The only real movement I got in that bracket, honestly, actually, I do low-key got another one. But hold up, because that's a different round. Hold up. Trying to get ahead of yourself. All right. So, yep, I got Duke winning regardless if Cooper Flag plays or not. I do got Baylor for They have the best player on the court, and he's a guard. I feel like he's gonna win. He's gonna be able to be a deciding factor, and Baylor gets the dub. And then the upset, I got the 12-5 upset from the East. I got Oregon losing to Liberty. I feel like Oregon has been sporadic, up and down, roller coaster type season. I feel like Liberty's coming in hot, being the hotter team, and got all the confidence in the world thinking that they can beat this team. 12-5 is one of those ones where we tend to get a lot of upsets in that when that seeding happens. So I'm going to go with this one. I got Liberty beating Oregon, getting to the round of 32. And then the Midwest, I think this is the one that I had where I feel like everything's going to go like how everyone would expect. I don't expect too many upsets coming from. Oh, I do have Clemson losing to McNeese. But that one is more so. I watched a couple different shows getting ready, and that was a consensus upset alert between everybody. So I'm gonna take their word for it. You know what? Because sometimes you got listed experts. I'm working my way there, covering so many sports. It's kind of hard to pay attention to everything, but I'm working my way up. And so, but in this round or in this division, the Midwest, I do. That's really the only upset. All the other ones, I got the more favorite team winning. I have heard look out for High Point versus Purdue. That's another one. But I got Houston beating SIUE. I got Georgia beating Gonzaga, which is an 8-9, but not necessarily like, I don't know. We'll see. I do got Purdue beating High Point. I got Illinois beating whoever wins between Texas and Xavier. It doesn't really matter. Anybody can get it. Pause. I got Kentucky beating Troy. I got UCLA beating Utah State, which was my pick for one of the more interesting ones. I feel like Utah State has an opportunity to win, and this is a good matchup that could favor them. And then Tennessee versus Wofford. Wait a minute. I had one earlier. Did I end up just going with Michigan before I get to the next round? Hold up. Let's go back. I did have one from the Southern region to look out for. I don't know why I didn't put that on here. But in the Southern region also, UC San Diego and Michigan. This is a game where I love it kind of captures why I love NC the March Madness, the whole thing. Styles make such fights that if you catch a matchup that just doesn't really work in your favor, Michigan plays a lot of bigs. They play a traditional, like a legit big, a legit 4, a legit 5. And UC San Diego plays 5 out. If they can catch fire, I can see them winning this game. The only thing, and it's happened before. There's been plenty of times. Miami had played where they had a 3-guard lineup, and all of them were like either small 2s or point guards. But they was getting to it, and I think they had a Final 4 berth, or if not, an Elite 8 berth a couple years ago. And so I do think UC San Diego, if they catch fire, I feel like the Michigan Wolverines should definitely be on high alert. In the end, I do still have Michigan winning, but I would say UC San Diego could definitely get that dub. And so going to the next round where, like I said, I had Auburn advancing and playing Louisville. In the end, I do think Auburn is just too good to lose. I know they've lost 3 of the last 4 going into the tournament, but I just feel like they're just a much better team. So in the end, I do still have Auburn winning, even though Louisville is playing a home game. I got Texas A&M beating Yale in the end. I did say if in this position that Yale could be the one playing UC San Diego. But I think Texas A&M is just going to be too much for them. I think the athleticism that they have and size over UC San Diego would just be the deciding factor with them moving on. I do. Oh, one thing I did mention because I changed it late at the end. I do have. Let me look and see something real quick before I say this because I don't want to sound crazy the whole time. All right, cool. So I can say this. I do have North Carolina beating Ole Miss. I've had them going into this beating San Diego State. They beating the brakes off San Diego State. It's 82-44 right now. So going back into it, I got North Carolina beating San Diego State. I do have North Carolina beating Ole Miss and playing Iowa State. Although I had them on upset alert, but I do got Iowa still moving on, getting to the next round. And then next I had Marquette beating New Mexico in the first round, Michigan State beating Bryant in the second round, and I just think that Michigan State, last time they were a 2 seed or higher, they made it to the Final Four in 2019. So I just feel like they're a really good team this year, well-rounded, and I got them beating Marquette, getting to the Sweet 16. Then I got Florida beating Norfolk State. I got UConn beating Oklahoma. In the end, I think that this is where UConn's run ends. I just feel like Florida is one of the more complete teams in the whole nation, I guess you could say. Not just in this bracket alone, but in the whole tournament. And so I just feel like this is where UConn, like I said, you never underestimate the heart of a champion, but I just feel like the back-to-back champs is where their road ends. And then I had Memphis upsetting Colorado State. That just cracks me up. That they're the 5 seed versus the 12, and they're not favored. Memphis, I got Memphis in the upset over Maryland, who I had Maryland beating Grand Canyon State. Grand Canyon State could very well win that game, but I just feel like Maryland is it's just head and shoulders above them. So I do got Memphis getting to the Sweet 16, Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers. I do got them beating Maryland. I don't know, maybe would that be an upset still? Beating Maryland and getting to the Sweet 16. I just feel like their guard play is a little bit better. They got pros on their team, and I just feel like Memphis gonna get it out. In the next round, I got Drake. I had Drake upsetting Missouri, just better coaching. Texas Tech, I just feel like, and Texas Tech beating UNC Wilmington. I think Texas Tech is just too good right now, and I think that, especially for this Drake team, who's slightly overachieving. But I just think it's going to be too much. I think that Texas Tech is a really good basketball team, and they got better coaching. And so when you got the two, it is what it is. The road ends for you. So Texas Tech got them going to the Sweet 16. And then I got Arkansas upsetting Kansas. Kansas could very well win. They were the number 1 ranked team going into the season, held it for a good couple of weeks, and then kind of slid throughout the season, and they ended up at 7. Arkansas comes in at 10. I feel like they have really good young talent, and I feel like their guard play, if they play at a high level, they can very well win. So I am going to go with Arkansas, Arkansas upsetting Kansas. That's kind of funny. But Kansas is one of them teams that they got a lot of vets. They got guys that have been there 2, 3, 4 years and had deep runs in the tournament. So I can see them getting to the next round. But I got Kansas beating Kansas and then playing St. John's. I got St. John's at the number 2 seed playing Omaha. beating Omaha, and I got St. John getting to the next round, man. And I got them and not upsetting, but I do got them beating Arkansas. I feel like Arkansas didn't quite have the season that they would have liked. I feel bad for DJ Wagner. I think his name is, I think they call him Boog or Ace Boogie. But he has been hurt, and I think he's about to come back, which is why I feel like they could beat Kansas. Because I feel like he has something to play for. And then going to the East, I got Duke and Baylor. I'd feel like Duke. I feel like by then Duke will play. What's my man's name? Cooper Flag will play. I feel like they just have a better team. They're one of the better teams in the tournament. And so I got Duke beating Baylor, getting to the Sweet 16. I got Liberty upsetting Arizona. I do have Liberty upsetting Arizona, getting to the Sweet 16. I feel like the confidence that they had, Arizona, definitely another one of them teams, is one of those teams that will have, like, they were kind of sliding up and down season. And so I think Liberty coming in with the confidence and the momentum, I think they'll get to the Sweet 16. I do have VCU upsetting BYU and then upsetting Wisconsin in the very next round. I feel like their physicality, being able to match the physicality of a Big Ten team in Wisconsin, and I feel like they'll be able to eke it out. I got St. Mary's beating Vanderbilt in the first round, getting to the second round, and losing to Alabama. Hold on, let me look up the kid's name. Mark Sears. I feel like when you go through it and you look at the tape from last year, Mark Sears was a very key component on a deep March Madness run. And so I think that being back for another year, being more of the star, I feel like Alabama is poised for a big run here. So I do got Alabama beating St. Mary's and getting to the Sweet 16. And then in the end, going to the Midwest, I feel like outside of, I don't really have too many upsets here. I feel like the higher seed is going to win. Tennessee is going to beat UCLA. I do think Kentucky's injuries is going to hold them back. I do have them losing to Illinois and getting to the Sweet 16. I got McNeese. I feel like this one's a stretch, but I do have McNeese beating Purdue and getting to the Sweet 16 and going up against the number one seed in the whole bracket. I got Houston beating Georgia and getting to the Sweet 16. On Friday, I'm going to go over the next two rounds and then, or at least the next round. It just depends on how the schedule works. But I know that the first round is Thursday, Friday. On Friday, I'm going to record talking about Saturday and Sunday. Or I think they take a break and play the day after. So I think it's Saturday, Sunday is the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. And so I'll go over that then, but that's the end of that. All right, and then we're going over to these fast break. So the Cincinnati Bengals have re-signed T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Will this work out for them? And I think that this is one of the ones where, like, I get it. I feel like this is where my disconnect, where how I look at sports and versus where we are with sports today. I feel like we overvalue offense and undervalue defense. Because as many yards, touchdowns, and points, stats, and all that the Cincinnati Bengals had between Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, as well as Jamar Chase, I think Jamar Chase had won a triple crown too. Like they still didn't make the playoffs because your defense couldn't hold up. So to give Jamar Chase 40 mil, to give T. Higgins 30 mil, and then you still gave Joe Burrow 55 mil, that's a lot of money capped up in 3 players when you need a good defense. You about to have to trade Trey Hendrickson because he won 20 mil. And who you gonna bring in? And it's like, I just don't get it. That's one of the ones where I feel like I mentioned, as an example, as good as Luka Doncic is, he is a trash defender. You're never gonna be able to win if you don't have defense. You got to get stops. Like if we scored 30 and they scored 35, we still lost. Yeah, he had a 30 piece, but what does that do for me? And then when you really go back and you look at it, the Bengals got to the Super Bowl. Yes, Joe Burrow played lights out, but the defense was holding people to a very low amount of points, or at least creating more opportunities for Joe Burrow. How many sacks did they get against the Kansas City Chiefs? Like the teams that they played, like I watched them beat the Raiders. Like the teams that they played, the defense was holding people to a certain amount of points, and then Joe Burrow was going and winning the game. So it's a team effort at the end. It's not just Joe Burrow got them to a Super Bowl. The defense played with Trey Hendrickson was balling. And so I do feel like we overvalue offense for the sake of defense. I don't like it. And so Brandon Jennings went viral in the sports world. Pretty much said he was a better player than Drew Holiday. And I don't think it's that crazy of a statement, but he is tweaking. And let me tell you why. When Brandon Jennings, just to the core of the player that he was a much better and a much more gifted player just naturally. I think Drew Holiday eventually has a better career. But as an individual, what Brandon Jennings was able to do and add to a team, I just feel like Drew Holiday wasn't that. I do think that the stardom that Brandon Jennings was on his way to until injuries and just the way that the league worked out, I feel like Drew Holiday was just a better glue guy as well as I put him low spectrum all-star because he can go get you 18 and 7 and guard the best player, the best wing option on the other team. And I think that that's the part but Brandon Jennings can go out there and get you 50. And so I feel like they were different players, but I feel like the value to a team aspect is where Drew Holiday excelled, where I think as an individual talent, Brandon Jennings was better. And so free agency winners, before we get up out of here, I do got to go over the Las Vegas Raiders. I got 3. I got the Las Vegas Raiders re-signing Malcolm Kuntz, bringing in what my boy name? Where's it at? Geno Smith for a 3rd-round pick. And bringing in Jeremy Chin, versatile safety from the Washington Commanders, leading him and having him play in a Pete Carroll defense. I feel like those are all good pieces and building blocks. I got the Chicago Bears, and this is in no order. This is just 3 teams I noticed that I really like their signings. Bears bring in Grady Jarrett, Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, and Dayo Odayingbo. I hope I said that right. It's African-ass name. I ain't going to hold you. But I hope I said it right, man, respectfully. But I like what they did. I think they bolstered the defensive line of scrimmage, and they bolster the offensive line of scrimmage. I think in the end, when it comes to football, if you can't control the line of scrimmage, you're pretty much toast. And so I do like those signings. I think building on Caleb Williams, getting more familiar and with a new coaching system, new coaching regime, Ben Johnson, you'll be able to control the line of scrimmage with these, or at least have more of a valiant effort towards that with these signings. And then at 3, I do got the Denver Broncos. I think they had some really good signings. You get Dre Greenlaw, linebacker from the 49ers. You get Talango Talanoa Hafango from the 49ers. And then you got Evan Ingram, which, from a fantasy football standpoint, I hate him. Respectfully. I know as players, y'all not worried about us. But, man, I had him for a couple years, and he was a dud every year, bro. And then he goes to Jacksonville, starts balling now. I hate it. But I think these are they might actually have won the free agency thing. I feel like they got pieces that they needed in high quality talent at those spots. I think they're going to have a hell of a defense. The defense was already good this year. Bringing in the Greenlaw and Hafanga, I think the defense is going to be legit. It's just how good is Bo Nix and how good can he be? And so I do got to get up out of here. I appreciate y'all for watching. Like I said before, make sure you go and subscribe. Subscribe at Juke Network on YouTube. I got a couple different things I'm working on over there. I started doing cannabis reviews. I do my gaming. I started streaming my gaming, trying to grow that platform first. So help a brother out. Follow us as well at Juke Network on Facebook. Help me bring everything over from the He Say She Say channel. Go over to Juke Network, JUK Network, and follow that page. Once I get to 100 followers, I'll be able to go live straight from that page. And I appreciate you. I appreciate Tasha for watching too, yo. You be looking out, sis.